What up guys, Ali here, and welcome to the channel. Now before I get started, make sure to add me on IG at Ali Talks Music, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now around 2008, Lil Wayne was at the peak of his career. He dropped the Carter 3 during this time period, and it was a huge success, selling over 1 million copies in the first week, becoming the first artist since 50 Cent to do so. It was truly a passing of the torch of sorts. While 50 Cent and G-Unit were fading away, Wayne kept dominating the charts, making him a household name. To solidify his reign at the top, Wayne dropped Lollipop, Milli, and Get Money, further tightening his hold on the music game. And when the time was right, he began introducing his Young Money clique to the world. Of course, Drake, Nicki and Tyga made the cut, but another lesser known artist that got signed to the label was an R&B singer who goes by the name Shanell. Before signing to Young Money, Chanelle was just a music video dancer and songwriter that had dreams of making it big in the music industry. She danced by day and wrote music by night, ultimately writing music for big name acts such as Neo, Khalees, and Jennifer Hudson. During this time, she also wrote for longtime friend and producer Bangladesh. My journey started as a dancer, choreographer, and that opened doors for me to be able to write for artists that I was dancing and choreographing for. That then opened the opportunity for me to be a featured vocalist on certain artists' songs, because I was writing so amazingly. In hindsight, writing music was a great way for Chanelle to enter the music industry. She made a lot of connections during this time period, which ultimately led to her Young Money deal. When she joined the label, Chanelle was quickly thrusted into the limelight as she made an appearance on Lil Wayne's I Am Music tour. I remember one of my first tours. I was singing with Lil Wayne, and he kept telling me to move up because I would stand like a couple of steps behind him. That's what you're trained to do as a dancer. He was like, come up here. That was territory I wasn't familiar with, standing on the same line as other artists. I had to get used to that. I also had to get used to opening my mouth.
Well, Young Money was an idea that Wayne had while we were working on some other stuff. We were doing a project that was like heavily rock influenced called Badass Grasshoppers. And some of those songs got leaked during that time, but we never finished the project. And I don't know what he was doing. I guess he was meeting all these new people. Whatever. He had the idea of putting Young Money together. And that one, I think it was one fall, he was just like, yo, everybody come down to Miami. That's when we pretty much all met each other. And we worked for months and went on tour soon then after that.
During her time on Young Money, Chanelle made some appearances on a few Young Money projects. However, even though she put in the work, it became apparent to the world that she wouldn't be as big as Nicki, Drake, or even Tyga for that matter. Lately, Chanelle appears to be relatively silent. So the question is, what happened to Chanelle?
Hey, what's up? I'm about to go to stage right now and work with the most talented woman I know. Her name is Shanell. We call her Miss Chanelle around here. She's the Young Money princess. She wrote Prom Queen. She got the song playing, my band popping on the tour. Enjoy the show. I gotta get to what I'm doing. She's amazing.
For most of us, the first time we heard Chanelle on a Young Money project was on My Wheezy off Lil Wayne's Dedication 3 mixtape.
I love the skin that I'm in. Goose pimples couldn't shake me up out of the wire.
Evidently, the hunger was there. Chanelle clearly knew that she had to show and prove and dropped a decent verse, making sure to catch the attention of listeners with her charming vocals. This was only the beginning for Chanelle. At around 2008, she released her very first mixtape titled A Taste of Chanelle, aka SNL. This was just the start of things to come. Around 2009, Young Money released their very first compilation album titled We Are Young Money. The album came in at number 9 on the Billboard 200, selling about 142,000 copies in the first week. As the title of the project suggests, it was created to introduce the newest members of Young Money to the world, with Chanelle making appearances on tracks like Play in My Band and Finale.
You can play in my band. I can teach you guitar.
With all eyes on Young Money and Chanelle, it was finally time for Chanelle to make a name for herself as an R&B artist in the ever-changing music industry. In the early 2010s, Chanelle released a single of her upcoming project titled So Good. Drake and Wayne made an appearance on the track, pushing the Young Money artist into the limelight more than ever before. The song was catchy, with Shanell taking lead on the chorus and dropping a seductive verse. However, despite getting features from two of the biggest artists in the game, the song still had no impact. It went nowhere, further solidifying Shanell's position, who had Drake and Wayne on the same track, yet still couldn't perform. And that's probably why her album didn't come out.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think I'm very certain that I have great music, and the fan base for Young Money is really young, and sometimes they don't really grab onto all that I have to give, so I have to be able to give them a little bit at a time.
Now, apart from dropping her own mixtapes, Chanelle also made appearances on Weezy's No Ceilings 2 and Lil Wayne's Sorry for the Wait 2 mixtape, amongst others. The many mixtapes Chanelle put out and guest appearances she made were decent. However, despite putting all the work in, Chanelle had trouble building a significant audience. According to Chanelle, she spent more time worrying about other people's careers than her own, placing her valuable time in the hands of other artists. Instead of focusing on her career, she would make sure other artists on her crew had the right dancers, choreography, lighting, and songwriting for their shows, making her an unofficial manager of sorts. From the sounds of things, Chanelle had a difficult time adjusting to being a star. Her songwriting and dancing background was always in play, sometimes forcing her to take the back seat when she should have been embracing the limelight. The transition to becoming an artist versus a choreographer or writer, which I didn't think there was too much of a difference at first. I was on stage all of the time with these artists. There is a difference. In my opinion, Chanelle's career is the perfect example of what happens when business meets pleasure. Because besides making music together, there were other things that Chanelle and Wayne were getting up to behind closed doors. If you catch my drift. And I have to say allegedly, because apparently, the studio mic wasn't the only thing that Chanelle was spitting on. From the outside looking in, it became very difficult to take Chanelle seriously as an R&B artist, knowing that she might be using her goodies to further her position in Young Money. Vocally, Chanelle can sing, but when compared to artists like Mariah Carey, Beyonce, and Anne-Marie, her singing ability appears to be somewhat average. If Chanelle was on Beyonce or Mariah Carey level, she would have blown up on Young Money. But alas, she was clearly destined for other things. According to Chanelle, the label wasn't doing enough to support her. I learned from that song coming out that I needed my own team behind me. I couldn't look at the label for the support that I felt they were supposed to give me. I needed my own team. There were things that I had ideas about that I would call the label, but they don't really do those things. You have to have a team within a team. The label is like a mass machine, right? And then you are what's going to filter through this mass machine. But you need this pump that's going to pump you through this mass machine. You can't ask the mass machine to move you through. They just do this all day. So you need this pump that is going to get you through this machine. From the sound of things, either Young Money Cash Money did not do much to promote Chanelle, or Chanelle wasn't doing enough to promote herself, resulting in her disappearance from the music scene. The latter rings true to me. It sounds like Chanelle expected the label to do most of the work for her, which, if you think about it, the label did do their job. For instance, around 2010, Lil Wayne was still at the height of his career, so much so that he knew that his fans would gobble up anything that he threw at them, and the result of his hubris became the album known as Rebirth.
I loved her fancy underwear. I sat behind her every year.
The album was a commercial success, coming in at number 2 on the Billboard 200, selling 176,000 copies in the first week alone. Rebirth was a significant album for Chanelle because she co-wrote Lil Wayne's Prom Queen and also appeared on several tracks on the album like American Star, Running, Prom Queen, and I'm So Over You. Here we go with another one. It's Throwback Thursday, and today we're about to do Prom Queen, Lil Wayne's Prom Queen. And a lot of you don't know that I wrote that song. If we take the fact that Chanelle wrote for Wayne and made appearances throughout his album, it sounds like the label put in a lot of effort to make Chanelle a star. Keep in mind that Wayne was the biggest or one of the biggest musicians in the world at this point. So if Chanelle's career didn't take off when she was working with Wayne, when he was at the height of his career, then clearly the label wasn't the problem. It must have been Chanelle. Around 2014, Young Money released their second compilation project titled Rise of an Empire. The project wasn't very successful, selling about 32,000 copies in the first week and coming in at number 7 on the Billboard 200. If I remember correctly, during this time, the Young Money label was not as big as it once was. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a time when people really didn't like Lil Wayne. They would call his music repetitive and predictable, for good reason, because there was a time when Wayne started saying the same thing over and over again. He had lines like, "I don't eat sushi, I'm the shit. No, I'm pollution, no substitution. Baby, I'm the shit, and that's the only thing you smell around me. And I be the shit, now you got loose bowels. They telling me I'm the shit, like a nigga don't piss. I'm poo-poo meaning I'ma shit on you turds." When Young Money dropped their second compilation album, Wayne wasn't as popular as he once was. Young Money as a collective was losing momentum, so even though Chanelle appeared on the project Rise of an Empire, it seemed like every one of her efforts to make herself a household name were in vain. Despite not being able to put an official album out, Chanelle has always been actively recording new music. In fact, for the longest, Chanelle has been involved in a girl group called Project Girls Club with members D Woods of Danny T. Kane, Mika Means, and Princess of Crime Mob. We put the track on, and each girl just went in. We kind of feed off each other, and that was the vibe. We are a little different than your normal girl group. We feel like Power Rangers and superheroes, so we have that tough exterior. We're still women, so we have that softer side. But the tough side is what you might get first. The ladies dropped a single called Run Up, a song that preaches girl power while simultaneously blasting some hard 808s.
Run up, fuck up the check, I'ma run up. All of my bitches go run up.
Now around March 2021, Lil Wayne announced the potential release of a new Young Money compilation album. We are about to put the compilation together, all the artists together on one album. That sets up everything for everybody, so they could start coming out with their solo projects as well. Now, seeing as Chanelle has been a loyal Young Money member since day one, her appearance on the project is to be expected. However, how much impact would a Young Money project have in 2021? One can only wait and see. Overall, even though Chanelle was signed to Wayne, has a song with Drake, and has dropped many mixtapes over the years, her career as an R&B artist did not take off. From the sound of things, she expected the label to do most of the work for her and placed other people's needs in favor of her own. Chanelle comes across as a background artist more than anything else. She's a songwriter, and that's okay, because not everybody can be Beyonce or Mariah Carey. Chanelle gets about 4,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and her most popular songs on the platform are So Good, I Can Be Your Stripper, and No Time for That.
So, first of all, I want to say that my life has changed majorly. And this little guy right here is now the CEO of Everything Me.
That's it for me, man. It's your boy Ali. What happened to Chanelle in your opinion? Let me know down below. If you have a video request, be sure to let me know down below as well. New What Happened 2 video dropping next week. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.